We all knew that Brexit would be a disaster, but a no-deal Brexit is going to be something completely unprecedented. The British Cabinet Office's EU task force actually gave ministers and officials a PowerPoint presentation marked officially secretive, which has been described as a horror show. This comes amid concerns not enough is being done to prepare for a worst-case scenario under a no-deal Brexit. Just last week, EU Chief Negotiator Michel Barnier spoke about how the talks were not going forward, but were going backwards, and how we are facing the real possibility of a no-deal Brexit. The report claimed that the restrictions on trade sparked by a no-deal scenario, if combined with a bad winter of flood, flu and the current pandemic, that it would mean hospitals could be overwhelmed. British ports could also be hit by power shortages and a lack of petrol because as many as 8,500 trucks could be stuck at Dover. Some of the highlights of the document are as follows. 1 in 20 town halls could go bust in a second COVID wave, sparking social care chaos. Now, remember that the government have been trying to offload pandemic planning and handling to local authorities for weeks. They have been trying to carry the can for the government, but lack resources to do so. The second point is the economic impact of the virus and Brexit could cause public disorder, shortages and price hikes. This is reminiscent of Operation Yellowhammer, which was Brexit specific. Add the pandemic to this, and it's likely that shortages will of course lead to price hikes. Look at the chaos over toilet paper that took place at the beginning of the year. The next point is that troops may have to be drafted onto the streets to help police in worst case scenario. 1,500 are ready on standby. Now, I think personally this is a bit of an exaggeration. However, police stations have been closing over the last 10 years of Tory rule, so some communities may have to have the army in if things get out of hand. The next issue is that supplies of food and fuel are under threat this Christmas if Dover becomes blocked. This seems to be an issue that Boris Johnson's government aren't taking seriously. They are playing chicken with the EU, hoping that the latter will bend and save Britain from itself. Will the EU bend? I don't think so. The issue of haulage was raised this week, and it looks likely under a no deal between 40 and 70% of companies would not be ready to deal with checks if they're imposed by the French. Any previous planning for Brexit has pretty much gone out the window. The pandemic has eaten up most of the stockpiles for medicine the UK had originally set aside to deal with a no-deal Brexit. This is all avoidable. This is not inevitable. But unfortunately, it would require Boris Johnson asking for an extension to the transition period. But that seems as remote as possible now. Remember back before the election, Boris Johnson had said that he had an oven-ready deal. I pointed out at the time that what he was referring to was the withdrawal agreement, not a deal. He also said that Labour couldn't be elected to office because they didn't have a deal. He convinced the public that he had a deal. Now we're heading for a no deal. How is that possible? Brexiteers have moved from saying that they would like the customs union and single market to remain in place when the UK leaves. Then hardliners decided to change what Brexit actually meant and said that the customs union and single market were never considered when people voted for Brexit back in 2016. Any arguments of financial and social harm befalling the UK were dismissed as Project Fear. But then when reality started to bite and it was no longer possible to ignore the damage that Brexit and a no-deal Brexit would do, the response to that was, well, we have to take the rough with the smooth. Brexit has gone from everything will be great, don't believe the fear, to we have survived worse. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. So I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons. Each and every one of you ensure that this channel continues to exist. So I'm eternally grateful for all of your support. If you become a patron, you will get instant access to our Discord server, where we have chats, both audio and video. You can chat with me and other patrons, where we discuss important and non-important things. Becoming a patron per month costs about the same as a large coffee, so check it out.